There are many variants of the DC-3 here, but one of them stands out above all, not just among this line, but among all the aircraft here at Oshkosh this year. I'm here with Nick from Aerometal, who's been flying the magnificent the Yacht Club. So Nick, it's been quite a journey for you to get here.
Yes, it has. I certainly can't take any credit for any of the work that's been done. That's all on the team at Aerometal under the supervision and guidance. Paul Baisley, he's done an absolutely incredible job with the tremendous effort of his team there. That took roughly about 3 years to put the airplane back into the livery that she's in. She was originally commissioned in 1941 as a TWA DC-3, but when the war kicked off, she was pressed into service and brought into the Army Air Corps as a C-53. She was built in Santa Monica, so she's a Santa Monica bird, which is a little bit more rare. And after she finished her construction, she was pressed into service in Florida, joined a unit there, flew overseas to Africa, participated in Husky 1 and Husky 2 in the invasion of Sicily, and then went from there up to the European theater in England, where she flew in support of Operation Market Garden and also in the drops at Bastogne. She flew multiple iterations between the continent and the UK, carrying troops and then wounded servicemen back as an air ambulance as well.
Fantastic. And this aircraft really is fresh out of Leicester.
Yes, it is. When the team did the restoration, what they did was basically take the airplane down to bare bones, down to stringers, and rebuild it from the ground up. There's not a single wire on the aircraft that's original. Very few of the hard lines, only those that were the most pristine, and everything else is rebuilt new. So the airplane is truly a modern airplane, but with the aesthetic and, more importantly, the history and lineage of her service with 62nd Airborne Transport Squadron.
Fantastic. Well, with the aircraft really being only out of the shop just a short period of time, it's magnificent to see you up here. How long does the journey take?
So the restoration finished Saturday before Oshkosh in the morning, and she had her first flight Saturday afternoon.
Fantastic. And should we go have a look on board?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Here we are on board, and I can see already it's an immaculate restoration. So what are some of the features we've got here?
Yeah, so the airplane was originally in a civilian airline transport configuration when it was purchased for restoration by the WS Aircraft Museum of Brazil. They are the incredibly gracious benefactors that have allowed this aircraft to be returned to its military lineage, and they're going to do an absolutely incredible job of preserving the history and sharing this aircraft's story. During the initial planning for the restoration process, the decision was to try and keep it a little bit more in line with its corporate and airline style history, but in order to do some structural repairs, the interior needed to be removed. And in the process of that removal, we noticed that the aircraft had several names scribbled on the fuselage. 21 were found in total, 16 of which were legible. And between that and the aircraft's transit from the United States over to North Africa, passing through Brazil, those two kind of stories combined helped to redirect the decision of the restoration from more of that airline style into the military configuration for the aircraft. Over the course of the restoration, like I said, we found 21 names, 16 of which were legible, and we've been able to reconnect with about 3 of the families so far. The first is a gentleman by the name of R.C. Tracy, and he had been a P-51 pilot during the war who'd been shot down and taken as POW. And when he flew on the aircraft on January 29th, 1945, that was his return flight from the continent back to the UK. The other family is Paul Zecchi. Paul's family was able to get us some pictures of him in wartime service. So this is Paul. Paul was serviceman during the war. So seeing these connections, these tangible connections to the history of the airplane just made it that much better.
Right here, that's where he signed it.
That's where he signed it. One of which that I think is kind of the most unique and impressive features of the restoration is actually the air ambulance configuration behind you. These litters, and you'll notice that the signatures are at roughly litter height. These litters are as they would have been configured in the aircraft. And the strapping, this webbing work, was made in-house, manufactured with new materials from original drawings from the war.
So all of these details, these have been completely remanufactured.
Remanufactured new from original specifications and drawings.
By them, they have been created by you.
Correct, by the Aerometal shop. So one of the things that I think is really worth noting is that Aerometal International and the team that Paul has put together, they are premier at what they do, but they're less an aircraft restoration shop and more a high-end yacht restoration shop. It's really impressive, the skill set that they have and the team that Paul has built.
Fantastic. That's brilliant to hear. And thank you very much for taking time to speak to me, Nick, and bring this aircraft to Oshkosh. I mean, it's absolutely a star here for us. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.